Welcome to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness, the podcast for hormone and functional medicine providers who want a thriving, predictably profitable practice and maybe a little less stress along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Lane, and I've worked with lots of clinics in marketing, sales, and business development, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. And here's what I believe. Hormone and wellness care should be available to everyone who wants it. And while providers know the medicine, many struggle with the business side of their cash practice. And that's where I come in. See, this podcast is here to share real strategies, real stories, things you can implement in your practice right away. So I am so glad you're here. Come on, let's go. So welcome everybody back to the Beyond Hormones podcast. My guest today has built a 7-figure women's health clinic from the ground up. She wrote a book that challenges everything we thought we knew about hormones and health, and then she walked away from it all to build something even bigger. She is a naturopathic doctor, the founder of the Pleasure Collective, the host of the Pleasure Principles podcast, and the author of the book, The Pink Canary, a book about the hidden secrets to optimal health for women that has been featured in the Washington Post, Cosmopolitan, and many more. Her work sits right at the intersection of hormones, burnout, and what it actually takes to build a sustainable practice without losing yourself in the process. Dr. Jordan Wiggins, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to have you on because we did a pre-interview and it was supposed to be 15 minutes. I think we talked for an hour and 15 minutes because we hit it off right away.
So much to talk about. Yeah.
So much to talk about. So, all right. So let me just start diving into my questions. So we talked a little bit about the things that you've done, and we'll touch on all of those things today. But let's start with your clinic. So you built this 7-figure women's health clinic. What can you tell clinic owners who are listening right now who are still trying to figure it out in the grind of building? Like, what did your journey look like? What advice can you give to those folks?
Oh,
Big question.
yeah, big question. Well, I went to school to become a doctor, not run a business. Um, Although naturally the business stuff comes to me, but I would say that two main things are number one, trust your gut because you know your business and you're the one running it. And number two, get the right team for support from all aspects. And when I really started to grow and scale, I was doing business masterminds or I had coaches, people helping me. And something that I did very early on is I outsourced a lot that I was not like wasn't in my wheelhouse. So like I've always had a bookkeeper. I've always had an accountant. I always had cleaners at my clinic. It's just because then it let me focus on the things that only I could do. Again, I guess I kind of gave you a big answer there of lots,
No,
lots
that's
of,
actually great.
lots.
And I have a follow-up because you said two things that are really important. One, you slipped this one in. You said the business stuff just sort of came to me, which I appreciate. And I wonder if you recognize that because you were smart enough to hire out some of these ancillary business tasks. So you weren't walking around frustrated and overwhelmed and you could really focus on growth. Is
Nah,
that
I built my business as a kid. I think I did my first one when I was 9 or 10.
what was
So
that?
I got my neighborhood friends involved. Oh, we did like we would do anything. We would wash our neighbors' cars, we would weed their lawns, we would like get hired to do tasks, and then I will date myself, but we wanted Backstreet Boys tickets.
I love that. Well, you've been an entrepreneur since you were born.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always say stuff like that. It's like, no, I've been running businesses and like in leading and enticing people to work for me since I was a child.
Got it. Okay, great. So then you went to school to become a doctor. How did the path lead you to hormones and libido?
So personally, I struggled with birth control.
Mhm.
When I went on birth control at 18, I had my period for 3 weeks a month. and I was not getting answers from it, doctors, gynecologists. It was just, oh, try a different one, try a different one. Um, so I really, really struggled with that. And I felt not like myself. I felt emotional, like was just not had. Birth control and I did not
Did get along.
mix. And I had two surgeries for Barthel and cysts on my vagina. We're going to get to know each other very well, Jody. Um, like young. So it's kind of like an episiotomy. Like you get
Mhm.
stitches and the healing could be very similar to an episiotomy, but I hadn't had kids yet. I was in high school with the first one. So pelvic pain and pelvic floor dysfunction was something that I was dealing with from a very young age. And I'm talking like stabbing, take your breath away pelvic pain that would just like I'd have to stop what I was doing and bend over. And no one knew what was wrong with me because nothing on blood work showed, nothing on imaging showed. I was referred to a gastroenterologist, a sports medicine doctor, like all over the
Sports
place.
medicine.
I know,
That's
because
weird.
this in the sports medicine doc diagnosed me with a tear, like that my obliques tore off my iliac crest and I was having referred pain. And then when the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, they, then they start talking like antipsychotic medication, right? It's like she must be crazy. She must be making this up. And then so that was all like that was high school and during my pre-med degree because I wanted to do conventional medicine initially. But then when that was the experience that I kept having from the system, I thought, forget this. Like this doesn't heal people. I felt alone, I felt broken, and I never wanted anyone to have to feel like that ever again. So that's why I chose naturopathic medicine. And that's why I created a women's health clinic because I wanted to be able to provide a different standard of care than conventional doctors do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, some of the best and most successful, and I don't just mean financially successful, but like results-driven successful providers that I've met in my career always have a story, an origin story like that, because it's so personal. And you, that really could have gone two ways for you, right? That could have been like you thought something was wrong with you and you could have gone down a very dark path. But thank goodness you at some point transitioned to think, no, I am going to take charge and make sure nobody else feels like this. You were going to say something.
Yeah, and well, because then I'd see it with patients over the last 11 years now. So I'll have women, sometimes even teenage girls, and they have these mental health diagnoses. And actually, it's an undiagnosed autoimmune disease or a severe hormone imbalance, and they're getting diagnosed, but they weren't getting the proper testing to begin with.
Right.
I think it's getting a little better, but this want to pathologize women or even like we wait longer in the ER or our pain isn't
Right.
believed at the same rate that met like this is researched, right? It's not
Right. Right. No.
I'm not
Yeah.
making it up.
No.
So yeah, that's I it could have gone two ways for me, but I'm a like all in kind of person. So it's like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
isn't right. I need to fix this.
Yeah, yeah. Which and thank you, and thank you for being that kind of person, and all the women that you have supported over the years. But let's go back to the business side for a second, just because it's a business podcast. So, you know, you just so you'd make this choice because you know that you have the experience, you're going to take care of others. How did you even start your practice?
I started renting a room,
Okay.
but I could see very quickly that I was outgrowing
Hmm.
that, that I was bigger than that. And I was on a split and I realized that with what I was paying the clinic owner, I could have my own lease and have people paying me. So about 6 months into that, I started the construction on my own space. And that was fun because I don't know, 27 or 28 at the time. I had $200,000 of student debt. No bank would loan me any money, right? Because debt to assets, I had
Right.
nothing. I just had
Right.
debt. I had no proven business. So I literally bootstrapped this thing from start to finish.
Which oftentimes
And
makes it more satisfying, I think, because then you know that every sweat, every tear, everything you did is all you.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's kind of like from the business side, that's what I did.
And how did you find patients? How did you start to attract people to you when you finally opened the doors?
You know what? A lot of it was word of mouth.
Mhm.
I and I know this it's not what people want to hear. They wanted that there's some hack or whatever, but at the time, because we're going back like 10 years ago now, 11 years ago, um, Google Ads was big. But what I would do is I would speak a couple times, local events, but it just got to the point that I had to stop taking new patients, but it was all based on word of mouth referral. I had a website. Instagram wasn't that big of a thing back
Yeah.
then. It wasn't like you had to have an online presence. You needed a website, and people were doing like paid ads, but I didn't do any of that. I just thought if I provide excellent care, then my patients are going to tell their friends, and that's what worked. So I did, as the business grew, then I needed to do like have more of an online presence for my associate doctors, like to get their schedules booked. Yeah.
So let's go there for a second. That's an interesting point because I've seen that happen before, where the founding physician, because of your experience, your training, your passion, your charisma, you attract people and then you hire more support so that your clinic can grow. How do you officially trickle that down so that those associate providers that you brought in could have their schedules filled too?
That was tricky.
Yeah.
It was setting boundaries and raising my prices is the two ways that I did it, which I don't, there's parts that I don't love about that. Like I didn't love pricing myself out of a market, but I had a business to run and I had such a long wait list of people getting in to see me or current clients that the care of my current clients was suffering. Because I couldn't get them in, couldn't get them an appointment. Um, so I started by outsourcing things like acupuncture or IV therapy, which, you know, anybody can prep the IV bag and
Right.
start the IV. It doesn't necessarily have to be me.
Right.
So things that could be executed by my team, I offloaded all of that immediately, and I didn't even give people a choice, like my patients a choice for that. Um, but again,
They didn't care.
they
The
didn't
results,
care.
they were getting the results that they came for. So
Yeah, it was
putting a
still
needle in their
my
arm wasn't a big deal.
right. It was
Yeah.
still my prescription or my protocols that they were
Right.
doing. I was just having somebody else execute. And then I also tried to really, I was quite niche and I tried to niche each of my practitioners because
Mm.
I figured that if they were doing what they loved and they were passionate about and they were really good at, then the same sort of thing would start to
Interesting.
happen. So we had a triage process at the front desk. where if a new patient was calling, then it was about where were they the best fit for practitioner.
Oh, I have not heard that approach before. That's very interesting. What kind of other, I'm just curious now, what kind of other specialties did your other providers have that you would kind of share?
One was very menopause
Okay,
focused, one was very fertility focused,
gotcha.
and I did a lot of like sexual health and complex chronic disease
Mhm.
cases. So it just kind of worked.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, especially if everybody stays, right? So the good part about that is any person who walks through your door, you've got a place for them that is a specialty basically inside of your brand. But how did you make sure that all your staff stayed and that you could maintain all of that?
Well, that was fun. They
Well,
didn't all stay, sometimes by their choice, sometimes by mine.
yeah.
Um, and that's something that I had to learn along the way, like hire slow, fire fast. I would hang on to people and like put blood, sweat, tears, my own equity, like time, money into them to try to get them to where I knew they could be. And it probably took me about 5 years of banging my head against the wall and wasting my time, money, and energy to realize like some people just weren't a fit and that's okay.
Mhm.
And just because I could see their potential, they had to meet me. It had to be a partnership. So um, getting them to stay was, they had it pretty cushy. I'd
Mhm.
looking at my next steps and my next phases, I'd change a little bit about how much I gave because I was really an over giver.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like they were the new client acquisition and stuff, they didn't have to worry about that. Like they were coming into a brand that already existed. So I definitely position things or change things a little bit.
Uh-huh. I feel like serial entrepreneur, people who are truly born as entrepreneurs, even if they go do other things, like you became a doctor, like, but someone who's born as an entrepreneur eventually open multiple businesses, and it's almost like dating. It's like you meet somebody, you like certain things, you don't like certain things. So the next one you choose a little bit wiser, and then you choose a little bit wiser the next time. And it's the same thing with business. Like you make some mistakes, you do some great things, and then you learn, and then you bring that to your next business. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, that was exactly what happened for me. And then eventually, like, you start to get your team and you start to get your people that stay and they're there for years. Um, but yeah, even stuff like having children or the pandemic, like it changes.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's one of the beauties of having a business that can, or in my case, I choose to have my business pivot and grow with me, or like sometimes shrink and step back and to grow other things. So it's I look at it as a bit of a blessing that I can kind of
Yeah.
pivot and change what I need or what the business looks like.
I love that you said that you chose because it is a choice. Like every business owner has that choice to either stay stuck and try to plow through and make things that aren't working work or pivot the business. So let's go there because
Yeah, that's well, I did a lot of like plowing through in the early days and now I go with more ease.
okay. So but you grew the clinic became very successful, right? And you were through the pandemic. Is that correct? You didn't sell till afterwards. Am I correct with that or is that fine?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened? You talk about, that you had burnout and you treated women with burnout. You had burnout. Like what happened with that clinic that you finally decided, you know what? I need to pivot myself and do something else.
In the pandemic, I started another business, like women's groups and coaching for women with low libido.
Mhm.
And that was going very well. And that was taking off while I'm dealing with the having to make protocols and SOPs for the masks and the like the COVID days was just
Hard.
wild. And we were closed for a time, but I still had my bills.
Yeah, and you're not the United States, right? You're in Canada, so things were a lot more.
We were 2 years.
Yeah.
We were like restrictions for 2 years.
Hmm.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Because yeah, certain states, you guys were back
I'm
to
in Florida. We didn't
normal.
have COVID. It just
Yeah.
went right by us. We had it for 2 weeks and it just kept going.
Yeah. So we had it for 2 years here. So
Yeah.
that was like a massive impact. So, and like so it was a combination of things. I had my daughter, it was the pandemic. I was in an abusive relationship which was extremely challenging. And I had this other business and it came to a point where I couldn't hold all the balls in the air. And I mean, I had a lot of pressure from my partner to close that business. And I wanted like what was easiest, like what was a lightweight thing that I could do with the business to free up some flexibility, time, overhead. And telemedicine really became possible after COVID, and it was not before. And I had many patients that they wanted online because they didn't have to plan around work or drive. They could just, get on a video call in their car on their lunch or something. Like it was easier for them.
Absolutely.
And they weren't even necessarily in a hurry to get back to in person. So I just thought if I can work less and net the same money because I don't have this overhead, I don't have to manage this huge team, and I can kind of dial it back, that's going to be my next step. Had I not been in an abusive relationship, probably would have been a different choice, but we're here where we are. Yeah, that was just sort of this like perfect storm that was created at that time. So closing the brick and mortar, moving online, getting rid of the big team, and just working lightweight like me and an assistant
Hmm.
for both of my businesses and a social media like podcast team.
But you didn't just do that. You also wrote a book in the middle of all that too.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah, you
Thanks,
did.
Jody. I'm glad you know my bio and timeline. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I wrote the
it
book
seems
in
like from
2019.
yeah, from 2019 to 2021, you did a tremendous amount while you were also a brand new mom and
While I was a new
difficult
mom and
life.
while I was in an
Yeah,
abusive
yeah.
relationship. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
So,
The trauma
not
brain, it's a blur.
yeah, of course.
So yeah, so then
But
I started another business, which also that was like multiple six figures right away. Um, and it was fun. It was like really fun and really lightweight. And that was in part because of my book and because of my podcast and the media
generating.
attention that I was getting
And
from all
that's
of that.
the Pleasure Collective, right?
The Pleasure Collective is the second business that I
Yeah.
started. Yeah.
For all you longtime listeners, you know how much I love working in the hormone clinic space. And I want every one of you to have the best clinic possible. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to pause this podcast for just one quick second and share quickly about a product of ours that I think is going to make a real difference for you. And it's called Practice Automation System. Now, first, I want to share something that I had to learn the hard way. If you're struggling to get patients, your marketing probably isn't the problem. It's what happens between when someone raises their hand interested and actually gets someone on the phone. That's where the problem lies. That's where most clinics are losing money and they don't even know it. Does this sound familiar? A lead fills out your form. Your front desk is busy taking care of patients, so they get back to them in a few hours or maybe the next day. They call the lead once, They don't pick up. So they leave a voicemail and they move on. The person never calls back, the lead goes cold, and your ad spend just vanishes into thin air. Practice Automation System is the solution that we built to solve this exact issue. Within 5 minutes of someone filling out a form, the lead gets a text. They get nurtured by email for as long as it takes, and your team gets assigned follow-up tasks based on how much time has gone by so that they never let anything fall through the cracks. We have used this foundation of this system inside my own clinic, where we grew to over 1,000 patients, 4 providers, and 23 staff members in just 7 years. So you know what? We know this works because we've used it ourselves, and we have helped clinics all over the country roll it out too. To find out if Practice Automation System is the right fit for your clinic, just go to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com/automation. That's acceleratedmedicalpractices.com/automation. All right, let's get back to the show. So for people that are listening that are like now feeling like crap about themselves because they have one job and adult children and a supportive partner, what does it take to like continue to pursue through all of that and be so successful? What kind of personality does it take? What kind of mindset does it take? Like that's extraordinary.
Thank you. And I don't know. I get asked this all the time, always. From I remember being in high school and people saying to me, like, how do you do what you do? But I don't like that question. I'm choosing easier now, moving forward, easy alignment. And I I think it's just who I am. I don't know if we believe in like our zodiac signs or anything, but I'm a triple fire sign. I have a lot of energy. I like to go fast. I like to do things. And I've had to work at that other side, the resting, the being okay with things as they are, and not having to be going like being third gear pinned
Mhm.
all the time, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I'm not sure if it's a blessing and a curse, I
I know,
guess.
I get it. I think that's as you're describing this, I'm like thinking back to our first meeting and probably why we connected so fast because our energies are the same. And I believe in energy that connects faster than like minds can. And yeah, there are just certain people that are born without a stop button. And it is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, so I've had to learn. I was definitely born without a stop button. My parents used to call me the Energizer Bunny as a kid. It's a really like undiagnosed ADHD, I think, or neurodivergence, but very good at masking and, being a female growing up, whatever. But I think I've had to learn to have my break, and that is one of the gifts of the domestic violence situation that I was slash in is I had to stop everything and I had to rebuild from the beginning. And even if anyone's, lots of people more people can relate than you think once you start talking about this, because there is, you have shame and we blame victims, like you picked wrong and all these things, but people really have no idea what abuse is like. But I remember sitting on the edge of the bed thinking, and my daughter was a baby, I was still breastfeeding at the time, but I remember thinking, like, I used to run a big business. People used to fly to come to my clinic to see me, like from the UK to Canada, okay? Like it was a big deal. And I'm like, and I can't even decide what to wear.
Hmm.
Like what has happened to me? And I just had this confusion and I was like going through life. It felt like I was walking through like mud or
Yeah.
everything was in slow motion for a long time. I didn't know, yeah, what to wear. I didn't know what food I liked. So by stopping, right, like by having to literally build things back brick by brick and heal myself piece by piece back together for my physical health, my emotional health, spiritual health, all of it, I had to have a break. Like I had to pause. And then now that's why before I just used to act, right? And it was from fear or it was from not feeling good enough. Like I didn't think that I could say no to a growth opportunity or but now I could care less what people think. I
Yeah.
I choose from alignment. Like, is this going to will I have more joy and fulfillment from this decision? Because before I had all of these external drivers, like
Hmm.
these external, I want to make this many million before I'm 40 or whatever. And now I think I'm like, what? Like, how was that a goal for me, where I want this car or this house and it's different
Hmm. Well, I
now.
think life and age definitely alters your perspective. But I also like as you're explaining this, I'm thinking about, well, the when you started, your career, women flocked to you because you could understand them at a very personal level because of what you went through as a teenager and you're young as a young adult. Now, I bet you it's the same thing. In your coaching business, I'm imagining that people are excited to work with you because you can see and get them at a level that nobody else can because you've been through it, you've experienced it, and you've chosen a life that now works for you. I mean, not that, I mean, everybody has their issues. I'm not saying your life is perfect, but you know what I'm saying? Like you are at this new stage of your life, and there are women that are struggling in a variety of facets with what you just described.
Yeah, in their marriages, in their business, and they want to build it in a way that looks different.
Right.
And yeah, those women are flocking because they're like, I have so much of everything I said I wanted, and
Right.
yet I'm
It,
not happy.
right. Right. Let's talk about the book for a second because I've got it. I haven't finished it, but I've gotten through some of it. Tell us a little bit about like what the point of the Pink Canary is. I'll have a link in the show notes to Amazon if anybody wants to go buy it. But can you share with us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I wrote The Pink Canary in 2019, and it was because I was realizing that my clients had this pleasure problem, like we were just talking about. Medically, the term is anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure and joy. And it's a part of the diagnostic criteria of major depressive disorder. But I was realizing that I had it, and many of my patients and clients had it, but like we weren't depressed.
Hmm.
Like we didn't have major depressive disorder, but we had this lack of fulfillment. We didn't want to have sex. We were just like going through the motions of life, even though we had everything we said we wanted. And we want to blame hormones. We want to blame stress. We want to blame all these things.
Take another peptide and it'll all be fixed.
Right, exactly. Like, let's get some BBC. Like, anyways, whatever the grifters are selling online,
Right.
that's the fix. But I knew that it wasn't. I knew it was deeper than that. And that's the pink canary is the warning signal. It's the canary in the coal mine for women's health that something is wrong. And it's that minute that it's a number of minutes over many years where the pleasure centers in our brain are off and it's setting us up for chronic disease
Mm.
and just a life of not feeling fulfilled. So that's why I wrote the Pink Canary. I'm writing a sequel right now, which I'm very excited about with
Yeah.
everything that I've learned.
I cannot wait. I mean, it's what, almost 7 years of experience past that.
Yeah, with women and personal experience that has taught me so much.
So, again, my background and my career is just working with hormone clinicians. That's who this podcast is targeted for. And I'm listening to you and I'm really resonating with what you're saying because I've heard that before. Like, well, women, their hormones when they're off, they don't have their sex drive is gone. They're not experiencing pleasure. They just need more estrogen. Let's put it in a cream. Let's do it this way. Like, there's all these
Yeah, let's get
hormone
it, give it to it
solutions.
vaginally. Let's give it to
Yeah,
it topically. I know. And it like
exactly. So how
that's
does
a fraction. And that's how I realized there was this problem because I was prescribing the estrogen and
and
it
it wasn't working?
wasn't changing libido.
So how does a provider that hears you and wants to dig deeper? I mean, I bet with this, I'm sure women that are listening to this, it's resonating immediately. Men might be a little bit more difficult to come to the table, but what do
You
they
know
do?
what?
How
I
do-
get a lot of men too, and I've
Yeah,
started to, well, yeah, it's a big missed opportunity that we're not doing like preventative sexual health for men as well. But yeah,
no, say more
there.
about that. I would love to hear about that too.
Well, it's sort of twofold because I look at it as we have like our physical bodies,
Hmm.
right? So we have our cellular health, like our tissue, our anatomy, like our bodies that need to be cared for. And hormones are a piece of that. So I'm not
Right,
discounting it, but I just
right.
think when it comes to, well, I know because of what I've done for the last 11 years, when it comes to libido, it's not this silver bullet, right? We're not just going to take this pill or take this hormone replacement and our libido is going to be back. It's multifaceted. So then there's that, like that's the pleasure collective, right? My clinic was the health side, and then the pleasure collective was the mindset, beliefs, everything else that comes with it. And there are even more men raising their hand for that side as well.
I like to hear that.
Because because I'll always say to women, and sometimes they don't love it, sometimes their partners don't love it, but like there's questions that we need to be asking in our intakes as clinicians. Like, and I'm putting this is actually going to come out on my questions that I use on an intake is coming out on my podcast next week. Um, but are you enjoying the sex that you're having? Is a big question that
Not
I'm
just do you
asking.
want to, but are you actually enjoying it? Yeah.
Yeah, like could you orgasm before? Do you,
Mhm.
because a lot, like we really just have junk food sex, especially in heterosexual couples. So we need a re-education
Yeah.
of what that all looks like. And that's what I do in the Pleasure Collective. And more men are learning about that. They're learning like how do we prevent erectile dysfunction, hormone health, all that kind of stuff on the health side of my business. And then on the other side, it's like if your wife doesn't want to have sex with you, like it's not just a her problem. This is a you
Right.
problem too. So if,
Yeah, yeah. You can be responsible for it or you can, just ignore it.
yeah, and well, and back to what we talked about at the beginning, it's this we pathologize women. So we want to give them the like HSDD diagnosis. Like, oh,
Mhm.
she doesn't want to have sex. She doesn't care if she ever wants to have sex again. Hypoactive sexuality or sexual dysfunction, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Why? Like, why is it on her? Why are we not looking at the system that creates this? And
absolutely.
that's my book too. Because book one was about the woman, like her as an individual and her desire and her relationship to pleasure. But I realized that I can't talk about that unless we're also talking about all
Yeah,
the things that create it. If we
absolutely.
want to truly heal it, we have to heal the environment too.
So if providers are listening to this, I'll have all the links to the Pleasure Collective, the book, your podcast, all of that. Um, and I asked you this question when we met the first time, and I know it like started to spin your head, but what is next? What are you going to do with all of this now, Jordan?
You know what? I'm scared to say this because it's not fully designed yet, but I wanna open another brick and mortar
Yeah.
in a and I just it needs to be that aligned, yes, way that doesn't suck my soul,
Yeah.
but I want to open another brick and mortar. I want to franchise.
You know, it sounds like you have gone through all the crap. You've learned a lot of lessons. You've made a lot of choices that you figured out serve you. And I would imagine that the new brick and mortar that you will open and build, and now you've said it out loud, so it's going to happen, is
I
going
know.
to
I'm like,
be,
damn it, Jody. We're gonna if I say it to you, it's definitely happening.
this one's going to be just a complete upgrade 2.0 that is the product of all that you have gone through, all you've learned, all the women and men you've helped, like the person you're becoming, all of that. I can see it so clearly. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
You promise me that when you open it up that you'll come back?
Yes, I
Okay.
will. And
Okay,
we'll
good.
talk about what's different and how it's working, of course. And I
Awesome. Because
mean,
I
you
think
know
that
me, it's going to be 0 to 100. So,
well, I love it because, I work with a lot of, I mean, even before I got into the hormone space, I would always work with business people, and it's just so black and white with most. It's like I either made a right decision or a wrong decision. And I don't think there are any right or wrong decisions. There are just decisions. And then what you
yeah,
learn.
and there's different outcomes from them.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I love about you. You really get that, and you just keep building your life from that.
Oh, yeah, I have made mistakes and I have made bad investments, and it's
We all
so
have.
it is what it is. And we can beat ourselves up about it, or we can grow and move
Absolutely.
forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, how do you know you have a success if you don't have a failure? You don't know. It's just you have to have that yin and yang.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And I win big and I failed big. So, you know.
I love it. I love it. So I've taken up a lot of your time. We're gonna close out here in a second. So on this podcast, I do something that I completely stole from my favorite podcaster, who is Steve Bartlett, who does Diary of a CEO. And he asks the question of his current guest, a question that his last guest asked, but we don't know who that is. You don't know who that person is. So I have a question for you, and this is from my last guest. And the question is, if there's one thing you could tell yourself when you first started your business or career that you now know, what would that be?
Trust your gut. Anytime I've messed up, like anytime I look back and I think, ooh, that was a bad investment, or that product didn't sell the way that I wanted it to, or whatever, I did not trust my intuition.
Yeah, I get that one. My business partner Patrick and I, we came up with this term in our when we were running the clinic. Whenever we would screw up because we didn't trust our gut, we called them that we ignored the pink flags. Like everybody sees the red flags; those are blaring, they're obvious, and pivot, figure something out. But the pink flags are the ones that you go, well, I don't know. Maybe if I did it this way, it would be a little bit better. So I completely get that. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for, and not just coming on and sharing your story, but you're always so honest and vulnerable. And that's how people truly learn, is by listening to people's authentic stories. And so I really appreciate you. And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jody.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to Beyond Hormones, the business of wellness. I hope that you're walking away with fresh ideas and real strategies you can use to grow your practice with profit and purpose. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today resonated with you, do me a favor, share this episode with a friend or colleague. It's one of the best ways you can support the show, and it might be exactly what they need to hear right now. If you want even more tools and support, go ahead and head over to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. Until next time, keep doing the work that matters. Your patients need you, and I am cheering you along every step of the way.